broke up with my boyfriend because he proposed to me with his ex's ring. A bit of context: I'm 29, live in Seattle, and work in marketing for a coffee brand. My boyfriend, well, ex now, is Ethan, 31, a software engineer who moved from Boston to the West Coast 5 years ago. We dated for 2.5 years. Ethan's quiet, warm, likes to cook, and loves hiking. I'm chatty, have lots of friends, and I narrate little life bits: how the neighbor's cat had kittens, a new donut shop, the laundromat owner who calls me sweetie, stuff that doesn't matter but makes the day nicer. We balanced each other, barely fought. My parents in Portland liked Ethan. My mom even said, "He looks gentle and he takes care of my girl." We'd talked about marriage. Last summer, hiking at Mount Rainier, I half joked, half serious: if we get married, I want a small outdoor party, string lights, and a pizza oven. Ethan smiled awkwardly. Pizza is fine, not sure about the string lights. But I saw him save a Pinterest album I'd shared. Back then, I felt like I was on a straight road with signs and mile markers, and the destination was a small family with this man. Everything changed the weekend before my birthday. Ethan said he'd take me to Bainbridge Island, just a 30-minute ferry from downtown. The morning was unreal blue, pleasantly chilly. I wore a moss green knit dress, denim jacket, and my scuffed white sneakers. Ethan hates those, but never says it outright. He brought a film camera. I carried a huge tote stuffed with water, snacks, tissues. We did our usual. Stopped at a bookstore. Bought him a secondhand copy of Kitchen Confidential and a short story collection for me. Swung by a coffee shop with a nose ring barista for big lattes. Had clam chowder on a patio while someone played guitar on the corner. Around 4 p.m., Ethan asked to walk to a lawn overlooking the docks because there was a spot he wanted to see. I had a suspicion then, movie-style heart-thumping. His hands shook a little. I have something, Then he knelt. I heard someone behind me whisper, "Oh my God!" A little girl point and giggle. Ethan opened a navy velvet box. Inside, a white gold solitaire ring, not huge, but sparkling in the late sun. I burst into tears, because everything we'd imagined, the late night talks about baby names, the way he always gave me the last mushroom, collapsed into one point. I said yes. We hugged, passers-by clapped, an older lady said, "Congratulations!" He slid the ring on my finger, the metal cool against my skin and his hands warm. We snapped a few shaky photos. Everything was perfect, until that night. Back at Ethan's, I went to wash my face. I took the ring off and set it by the sink. I have a habit of fiddling with things, so I picked it up and inspected it. On the inner band was a faint engraving, Ian H. 8/21. I froze for a few beats like I'd just seen a number speak. E is Ethan, H. I'm Lily, not H. Connections flashed. Hannah, Ethan's ex. 4 years together, engaged, wedding canceled. He told me they broke up because they wanted different things. I respected that and didn't pry. I put the ring back exactly where it was, finished washing my face, and went to the living room. Ethan was cooking spaghetti, lo-fi music playing, turning to smile at me now and then. "Want extra Parmesan?" he asked. I took a breath. There's Ian H. engraved in the ring. Who's H? He paused, looked at the ring in my hand. I wasn't wearing it. I was holding it. His smile vanished. A truly clever man might have said, "H is Helen, my grandmother's name. It's an heirloom," or anything plausible. But Ethan said, "Lily, let me explain." My head was hot, but my voice wasn't sharp. "Explain." He turned off the stove, braced his hands on the counter, like he'd fall if he let go. "I bought that ring a while ago. I was engaged before. You know that. When we split, Hannah returned the ring. I kept it. When I decided to propose to you, I thought it was okay. A ring is just an object. I took it to get polished. I didn't think you'd notice the engraving." I stared at him. I knew I was about to cry again, but this time it felt different. You thought I wouldn't notice? Or you thought I didn't deserve a new ring? No, it's not that, he fumbled. I just was stupid. I wanted to save money. You know I've been sending money back to Boston for my mom's medical bills. Diamonds are expensive, and this ring is very beautiful. Beautiful, sure, but it doesn't belong to me. I set the ring on the counter with a tiny clink. I don't want to wear your past. He nodded like he'd been slapped. I'm sorry. I really thought the material thing didn't matter. What matters is I want to marry you. Then why not say it beforehand? Why let me find out? Because I was afraid you'd be mad, and I was afraid admitting it would ruin the moment. He exhaled, shoulders collapsing. I know I messed up. We ate spaghetti in silence. The pasta was al dente, the sauce was good, but my throat felt tight. I looked at the photo we'd just printed lying on the table. I was grinning, left hand up. The diamond, a tiny starburst. I wanted to go back to that afternoon, tap myself on the hand, and whisper, "Don't cry yet. Look closely first." I thought it would end there. Ethan would return the ring, buy another, and we'd move on. Life isn't that tidy. The next morning, I texted Charlotte, my best friend who works at a small jewelry shop in Capitol Hill, to ask if she could check the ring size. I didn't mention the engraving, just said I needed it resized. Charlotte called immediately. Bring it over. I took the ring in. Charlotte peered through a loop, clicked her tongue. Nice diamond, but oh, there's an engraving. She looked up at me. I shrugged. Yeah. Don't be sad. We can buff that out. But Lily, this setting has had the stone changed before. See? The prongs are a bit worn, like there used to be a different stone before this one. Are you sure this is a new engagement ring? My stomach dropped. What do you mean? I mean, he might have reused an old ring, swapped the stone, or polished it. Not a crime. Just a little weird. I called Ethan right there at the counter. This ring had its stone replaced, didn't it? Silence for 3 seconds. That special kind of quiet that contains fear of being found out and calculations for damage control. Then Ethan said, "Yeah, when Hannah returned it, I swapped the smaller stone for this one. I wanted it to be different." I leaned against the glass case. Charlotte handed me a glass of water, her eyes clearly saying, "Oh boy." That night I asked Ethan to tell me everything. I went to his apartment, sat on the gray couch. He brewed mint tea and set it down like a sacrificial offering. I said, "Everything, from start to finish." Ethan nodded. I bought the ring in 2021. Had E and H engraved with the planned proposal date. Back then, I even took out a small loan. Not a big diamond, but still a lot. In 2022, we canceled the wedding. Fought, no future. She returned the ring. I put it away. When I met you, I wanted not to let the past weigh everything down. But around then, I started sending money from my mom. I didn't have spare cash for a new ring. I worked overtime, but you know. I took out the old ring, swapped in a brighter stone, polished it, figured no one would know. I thought that way it was frugal and sincere, because what I wanted was to marry you. I didn't think about how you'd feel when you found out. I was wrong. It makes sense. His mom's sick, money's tight, diamonds are pricey. I want to be the "it's just a thing" person, but I can't shake the feeling of wearing something once given to someone else, with the same promise. The promise isn't the material, but the ring is the symbol. I don't want a symbol that smells like the past. I said it. I get that it's hard, but if so, why not say, "Can we get a cheaper ring?" Or, "Give me a few months to save." I'd have said yes. I don't need a big diamond. What I need is feeling like I'm the only choice. Right now, this box, this setting, even the engraving weren't meant for me. Ethan cradled his head. I know. I was too proud. I was afraid of looking inadequate. You're not inadequate because you can't buy a brand new ring. You're inadequate because you hid it. He shut his eyes. I love you so much, Lily. Your love, maybe. I looked at the ring on the table. But the respect I needed from you was missing today. The days after that were taut and foggy at the same time. We put wedding talk on pause. I took the ring home, didn't wear it, tucked it into a drawer with old birthday cards, a red ribbon, a few receipts. At night, I replayed little fragments. The time Ethan went quiet after I laughed with Mark, a male coworker. The time I was 20 minutes late because of the ferry and he texted, "Okay," but was cold all dinner. The time I said I wanted to go to Italy in the fall and he said, "Too expensive." The time he said, "You're so low drama," in a breezy tone. Tiny things suddenly connected, like drawing a line through dots that once looked separate. Right when I was most conflicted, the first twist hit. Hannah texted me. I don't know how she got my number. Probably a mutual friend. Seattle is small, but the message was polite. "Hi, Lily. I heard about the engagement. Congrats." I wanted to say something, not to stir drama, but because I wish someone had told me. Ethan has a habit of avoiding discomfort. When we were engaged, he once suggested we reuse my mom's veil to save money. But later I found out he actually wanted it because his ex before me had worn something similar. It made me feel like I was filling a template. If you ever feel that way, please listen to yourself. No hard feelings, take care. My hands went cold. Filling a template, like slotting into a pre-made form. I thought all afternoon. I didn't want to turn into a detective, but I needed to know more. I opened a shared Google Photos folder Ethan and I used. Travel and food pics. In Archived, I found a folder called Old Drafts. Inside was a photo of a handwritten list. Proposal ideas. 1. Bainbridge Ferry at sunset. 2. Gasworks Park picnic. 3. Mount Rainier overlook. Below were different dates. The photo was from 2021. A few ideas were underlined. Bainbridge Ferry, exactly where he knelt for me. I scrolled and found a checklist. Ring, camera, picnic blanket, ask stranger to take photo. One box read, E and H engraving. My heart sank like a stone in water. I don't blame anyone for planning carefully, but staring at those old green check marks, I couldn't shake the feeling I was replaying a script. That night, I called Ethan. I saw some things in an old folder. Hannah texted me too. I feel like I'm playing a role and you're just swapping the name. Ethan went quiet. I'm sorry that folder was visible. I didn't mean to hurt you. I did reuse the ideas. I thought a beautiful spot is still a beautiful spot. I didn't think it mattered this much. Of course a place is still beautiful, but feelings shift. I don't want to be Hannah 2.0. I tried to tell myself it was just a ring. But now, from the ring to the proposal plan to the secrecy to your conflict avoidance streak, I see one thing. You choose what's easy over what's right. Lily, he whispered. I'll buy a new ring. I'll plan something new. I'll engrave your name. I'll delete the old folder. I don't need you to engrave my name on anything if I'm not engraved in your mind first. My voice shook. Give me a chance, he pleaded. Don't throw everything away over a ring and a stupid engraving. I closed my eyes. I thought about nights he held me while I cried about work, mornings he made coffee, the way he laughed when I mixed Vietnamese-style dipping sauce, how he looked at me under the meteor shower. I also pictured a future where every time I looked at my hand, I'd remind myself, this is mine, and every time something uncomfortable came up, the man beside me would choose silence. I'm not throwing everything away, I said. I'm protecting what's left of me. I unclasped the round pendant necklace he'd given me last Christmas, his first gift to me, and set it on the table beside the ring. We should stop. He stared at the two items like a gate had slammed shut. Are you sure? Never been surer. I stood, heart aching but head light, like I'd put down a heavy bag. After the breakup, I moved my stuff out in 2 trips. Charlotte and my brother Mark helped. Charlotte put on Fleetwood Mac on a Bluetooth speaker. Mark didn't talk much. He just kept reminding me not to carry anything too heavy. I packed our matching mugs, some picture frames, the soft throw he bought me. At the door, Ethan stood there, hair messy, eyes bruised with lack of sleep. He asked, "Can I give you a hug?" I shook my head. "Please, let me leave cleanly." He nodded, bit his lip. I hope someday you know I've never loved anyone like I love you." I didn't answer. Maybe love isn't the only measure. If love doesn't come with the courage to face discomfort, to tell the truth even when it's embarrassing, to choose the harder path because it's kinder, then love is just a feeling, not a choice. That night, back at my apartment, I turned on the little string lights I'd insisted on hanging. I made tea and watched rain on the street. A few days later, my mom called. "You okay?" I told her everything. She was quiet for a while, then said, "Some people are great at making others feel calm, but when it's time to hammer a stake into muddy ground to build a house, they're afraid the mud will dirty their shoes." I laughed through tears. "That's a vivid metaphor, Mom." She chuckled. "I said it so you'd remember. Every decision has mud. You chose yours." This week I returned the Boston plane ticket to visit his family. I deleted the Pinterest album P&W Wedding I'd made. I removed a few Bainbridge photos but kept one of the blue water and the tiny ferry because I don't want to hate a place just for what it witnessed. I opened a dating app, then closed it. I went out with Charlotte, ate cinnamon sugar donuts, talked about a movie, and I wrote this. Retelling it, I still have pangs. Sometimes I ask myself, was I too harsh? Did I throw away a good man over a ring? Then I remember the cold punch of seeing E and H. I remember Hannah's message, "Don't become the person who fills a template." I remember saying, "I don't need a big diamond, I need to feel chosen." I believe I chose myself. And I know that one day, if someone kneels in front of me, I won't have to ask, whose hand did this ring sit on before mine? Some will say, it's just a ring. To me, it's a reminder of how he treated me. Did he tell the truth? Did he respect my feelings? Did he choose the hard thing because it was right? Ethan loved me in the easy ways. Cooking dinner, holding me when I was tired, planning pretty moments. But when he had to break the easy path to do the right thing, to say, "I can't afford a new ring yet. Are you okay with that?" he chose silence. And in this story, silence was the loudest thing he said. I'll stop here before I ramble about the neighbor's cat screaming for food at 3 a.m. I still hurt, but it's lighter. Maybe someday I'll meet someone who isn't afraid to muddy their shoes while planting the stake under the rain. Was I overreacting to break up over a reused ring, or was I right to leave before I ended up squeezed into a mold? What should I do next?